Welcome everybody to our regular June 10th meeting of the Community Advisory Committee. I'm looking for, oh, there we go. Kimberly, can you take a roll call, please?
I would love to. Edward Lopez.
Present.
Gary Johns.
Present.
Anna Webb.
Present.
Charles Summers.
Present.
David Harris.
Here.
Jen Dirks.
Present.
Matthew Vasilakis.
Present.
Peter Anderson. Victoria Abrenica.
Present.
Aida Castaneda. Larry Emerson.
Here.
Vice Chair Hammond.
Present.
Chair Price.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public?
There are no written comments and there are no hands raised.
Beautiful. Are there any items to be withdrawn, reordered, or reordered on the agenda? I am assuming no.
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. Number 5, discussing options for meeting format. I'm not quite sure what this means.
Oh, I can take that, Chair Price. We had included a slide in our welcome, so if we can just address that really quick before we get to the meeting format. We just really wanted to thank Ed Lopez for his service on the Community Advisory Committee. And
Where the hell is Ed Lopez going?
Yeah.
Mr. Lopez?
Unfortunately, I'm going back to work. It's
Oh, okay. You know, I can't argue that.
my schedule is just getting a little too hairy with some of all things CPUC proceedings. And I am trying to make some time for a growing, at least we hope so, tequila producing.
Okay. I don't drink, but I imagine that's a beautiful thing to some people. But we appreciate your service and appreciate your intellect on this council, and wish you well in whatever you do from here on out.
And the same from my end too. I know everybody's done an outstanding job and focus. So it's going to be a continued success for San Diego Community Power.
Well, thank you, sir.
Maybe we could have Ed cater future in-person CAC meetings.
Well,
Yeah.
how do you get the tequila company to cater? What about the food, Gary? What about the food, Gary?
Oh, I'm sure Ed can.
The food, yes, but we just started. We're about 7 years away. We're coming up upon the first year of the baby agave, the Hijuelos, and I need to spend a little bit more time down there looking at it.
Okay, watching it grow, huh?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay,
Chair Price, Carolyn Schofield has her hand raised.
Carolyn?
I just wanted to say a special thanks to Ed, and to just tell you all how much of a help he was to me too. So we did a lot of communication things behind the scenes, and I really appreciate everything that you did, Ed. So thank you. And you served Chula Vista well.
Oh, thank you, Carolyn.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
Ed, I want to thank you on behalf of staff as well. You've been an awesome resource for all of us, and we're definitely going to miss working with you. So hopefully it's okay if we still consider you a resource once in a while.
Absolutely. I think there's tremendous opportunity for a number of stakeholders to continue to look at some of these regulatory proceedings and determine what's the best opportunity for our communities to seek reasonable and just rates and new and green energy opportunities.
Well, we're very grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It seems like we're going to have 7 years of getting all this good information out of you before the tequila matures. You're not answering calls no more. But thank you again. Thank you. Discuss options for meeting. Are there any comments from the public on Mr. Lopez's departure?
No written comments and no raised hands.
Okay, well, thank you. Discuss options for meeting format. Who is the lead on that one?
I will take this, and before I get started, I want to apologize to everyone for the boring slides. Sebastian is on a well-deserved rest break. Actually, he's running a half marathon, but without his talent, the slides don't have the special flair. So, and thank you to Kimberly for stepping in and helping us out with the meeting. For this item, I just wanted to get some feedback on where the CAC kind of feels next step should be for our meetings. Our obvious choices would be to keep the virtual format the way it is. Now that staff's moved to the Nuvei building, we do have a conference room where we could hold in-person meetings, and it would be hybrid though, because we don't have the space to accommodate the public yet. So some members could be in person, some members could be in, could come virtually as well as the public could log in virtually. If everybody feels ultimately that they want to be in person with the public, I know that Sebastian had done some research into some different places where that might be an option, but we want to revisit that because it's been a few months since we looked at those locations. So I'm here to gather thoughts, and then we'll compile everybody's wishes and come back to you next month.
Okay, well, I see some members' hands raised. So Tom, then Peter, then Matthew, then Forfin Creative.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Price. First of all, thank you, Ed, for your strong support during this last couple of years. And just curious, is this your last CAC meeting, and will there be a replacement selected before the next one? And then in regards to format, I put forward that perhaps we would entertain the idea of a primary and an alternate advisory committee member. And I kind of stand by that, but I also am a little bit surprised that I have also come around to the idea of the online meetings as well. I think they have served a really good purpose. So that's my 2 cents worth on the meeting format.
Okay, Peter.
Peter Anderson here. I've got 2 points. First of all, a tangent, but somewhat relevant is, will there be a virtual option for tomorrow's meeting? I have guests from the Midwest this weekend, and I can break away for an hour or two, but I can't spend the whole day with you guys. So is there a virtual option?
Rita, would you
Yes.
like me to answer that?
Yes, please.
I just sent out an email to all CAC members with instructions for the virtual option. And all of the materials for the meeting are now on the website. So you can see a complete breakdown of the day. So the link for the website information is in the email. So I just sent it probably 30, 45 minutes ago. So it should be in the top of your email with everything you need to participate remotely.
Perfect, Kimberly. All right. So now my comment on the meeting format. I think there are advantages and disadvantages of meeting in person versus virtually. Clearly, the other night when I had dinner with you folks, I enjoyed getting to know you in a face-to-face format, which is very different than an online situation. And I think it also gives us chance for to grab lunch or grab a drink before or after the meeting with meetings. So there's some big advantages to in-person, but there are people that are still afraid of COVID, and rightfully so. And there are people that are just busy, and it's much easier to Zoom than to travel to Liberty Station. From my house to Liberty Station is about 40 minutes, so each way. So there are pros and cons. I'd like to see a hybrid format. So those of us that want to come and schmooze in person and get to know people better can do that. I think inevitably the public will have to be Zoomed, and I think then members that wish to Zoom can Zoom.
Thank you. Matthew?
Yeah, I just had a question. So the meeting space that we have, or the new space is still at Liberty Station, correct?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. And then I would appreciate, similar to previous comments, of hybrid in-person opportunities. Liberty Station isn't as transit accessible as I'd like it to be, working on that. But yeah, so that would be my only comment.
Thank you, Matthew. Anna?
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in, because if you had asked me a week and a half ago, I would have thought, sure, let's start meeting up in person. Let's get together. Then I got exposed to COVID. I was with a trusted friend who came over in my house. We were chatting about 2 feet away. And the next day she called up and tested positive. So it's disrupted my entire week. Luckily, I keep testing negative, but I am just going to realize that as much as we'd like everything to get back to normal, it's not normal yet, and maybe never will be. But I would appreciate maintaining Zoom, at least as an option. If you do have hybrids are tricky. We've tried a couple with our club, but I'd appreciate that. I would go for that, because now I'm pulling back in my little hole and saying, okay, I got to be super careful, even around trusted people. So.
Okay, thank you. Jen?
I'm gonna make this quick because I share sentiments with others, but I wouldn't be able to make an all in-person event. Occasionally it would be nice to meet you all. So I like the idea of a hybrid, but my commitment to the council or to the committee is dependent on the fact that I can do it virtually and fit it into my insane life. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. Gary?
Yeah, well, Tom raised the issue of a primary and an alternate, but I thought we already talked about that in a previous meeting. And I don't know, Tom, I'm not sure what your idea was, and maybe you could clarify. Do you mean that someone is officially listed that way, or do you mean that somehow one person is always identified as the alternate, or at least the one attending virtually?
Yeah, I can go either way on that. I mean, I think it's up for consensus on it, but as we talked about long ago, 14 people is starting to get a little bit of a handful, and as long as the alternate or the other person, has accessible ability to the recording, perhaps. And I noticed that the recordings have been posted a lot sooner than they used to be, which is really handy. When you can't be there, you can at least access the recording, like it seems like within a few hours now, or at least a day. So yeah, I think we could just kind of figure that, maybe even figure it out between us, I know that Anna and I kind of work together on that level as well. So to be decided.
Well, my only concern is that we decided that at 14 people, everybody was going to be the 2 alternates from the jurisdiction. And that was an agendized item. And I think with any kind of formality, I don't know. I think we have to be careful about using the term, the primary and the alternate here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just rewording it differently, that there's the understood the understanding between the 2 reps from any jurisdiction that to keep the crowd down in Liberty Station, one will be virtual. It could rotate around even, but so let's stay away from the primary and alternate kind of nomenclature So that would have to be changed by an agendized item.
Okay, I agree with you, and I do recall that we did decide that. That was kind of, that goes back to my question to Ed about who might be his replacement. And I just going by Anna's and my own example of collaboration between meetings, it could be determined by the two people who was absolutely going to be in and who might not make it in the meetings.
Tom, I can answer the question. I was going to update everybody later about the CAC seat that'll be open for Chula Vista. We had 5 applicants, which we have forwarded to the Chula Vista board member, who will make a decision next week. And then his nomination will go to the full board this month. So we should be on track, if everything goes according to plan, to have a new representative from Chula Vista at the next CAC meeting.
And just as a point of order, the conversation we've evolved into is not on the agenda.
Right. I was going to just give that update under the SDCP staff updates.
Okay. Larry? Nice hand, Larry.
Yes, I'm fine with a hybrid system where some people may want to do remotely. Someone commented about the transit. I actually used transit to the last event for the Padre game. So from Old Town, I took bus 28. It comes down Rosecrans, and I could walk over to the office from there. So that was not too hard. But a hybrid system is fine with me. But I'd like to be able to come once in a while in person. And then you can spend a little more time with people before or after as well. I like that idea.
Okay, are there any more comments from the committee? And then I will open it up to the public. And then I'll make a comment.
There are no public comments.
I feel that, I think we should ease into the hybrid and work it out any way, any kind of way it does work out. If we can get there, we can get there. If we can't, we can't. But I think, from a safety perspective, and we're doing a lot of talking about COVID, which is, a real thing. But I'm also, concerned about the gas prices also, and not making any unnecessary trips if I don't have to. So with that, I believe, based upon the tone of the conversation, I would like to entertain a motion of hybrid meetings.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Been moved, and is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for hybrid meetings. Kim, can you take a vote?
Absolutely. Edward Lopez, how do you vote?
Yes, or in favor.
Gary Johns, how do you vote?
In favor.
Anna Webb, how do you vote?
In favor.
Tom Summers, how do you vote?
Yes.
David Harris, how do you vote?
Yes to hybrid.
Jen Dirks, how do you vote?
In favor.
Matthew Vasilakis, how do you vote? Matthew Vasilakis, how do you vote? Peter Anderson, how do you vote?
Anderson, aye.
Victoria Abrenica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Aida Castaneda, how do you vote? Larry Emerson, how do you vote?
Yes, affirmative.
Vice Chair Hammond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair Eddie Price, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with all directors or all CAC members voting yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Carolyn, you have your hand up. Do you have a?
Oh, I was just going to say you didn't call on me. So yes, for some reason. I'm here, but I've been here the whole time.
Oh,
And
sorry. Sorry,
also,
Carolyn, you were just off the screen on my list.
Can you check back with Matthew?
Matthew, did you hear me when I called your name for vote?
So I guess that would qualify as an abstention, and I don't think that's crucial.
I see he's still online, but he's not responding.
Right. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to item number 6. And I would imagine that's Rita giving that to us.
It is. Thank you. And for that last item, I appreciate all your feedback. We'll put together some logistics for next month. I just wanted to, there's not a lot of an update here, just more of good news, which is our residential enrollment for the large part of it has winded down, and our PR efforts, thanks to you all, have been super successful. So I just wanted to quickly run through where we stand. So next slide, please, Kimberly. So as far as enrollments go, by the end of this year, we'll be serving 770,000 accounts. So we are still enrolling our solar customers, which, as you know, are enrolled in our service at the end of their true-up month. So there's still some months to go for those customers. And our participation rate remains above 95%. So that is really great news for us. For net energy metering customers, we're serving over 33,000 accounts, and we'll expect an average of 8,500 per month until January. And then for our Power 100 accounts, we currently have over 25,000 that are currently enrolled. And our team put together kind of an equivalency of over 22,000 gasoline powered vehicles off the year compared to that electricity. So this is all really great news, and thank you to everybody who participated this week in our press conference at Petco Park. I think sometimes we get so in the weeds that it's nice to step back and look at how much that we've accomplished. So I really thank you all for your help. And I also want to ask of you to please continue the momentum, because actually a lot of people will still be receiving their bills for the first time this month. So everything that you've been doing, please continue, please lean on me, and we can go through a couple of other slides, but I see Jen's hand up.
I just had a quick qualifying question on the 22,000 gasoline powered passenger vehicles. Is that because of all of the energy that those Power 100 customers are using, or because of the difference between your normal service and the Power 100 Power Up?
That's all of it.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted. Thank you.
Sure. Next slide, please. So between our co-marketing campaigns that we've done with our Power 100 champions, our outreach via newspapers, magazines, and social media, we've had a great reach, and I thank you all for that again, because I see you sharing things and liking things, but we plan on continuing all of these campaigns through July. So you'll continue to see our presence for a couple of more months. Next slide. And so since we started residential enrollment in January, we have been to over 70 engagement events, whether that's tabling an event or speaking to a group in the community or being a panelist. So thanks again, and we're going to keep it up. This month, I'll be presenting kind of some metrics of the campaign to our board. We're still collecting all of that data to show them, but everyone is feeling really good. Larry?
Yes, I wanted a clarification again on the last slide, but the 25,000 those are from the new Chula Vista and San Diego, or just total since we started?
In all of our accounts.
All of the accounts. And so I guess that you're still waiting to hear from people in Chula Vista, San Diego, if they want to bump up to 100%.
Right. And when
Okay. And that takes time, right? For the
right. So we wanted to really just concentrate on awareness as people are enrolled, but we do have plans to be more vocal about the option to opt up. And so that'll be an ongoing campaign for the rest of the year.
And then I heard you mention that there was a PR or press event at the Petco Park. Is that before the game started? Because I wasn't aware of that.
It was the morning of.
Oh, I see.
Where we actually, I can send you some of the footage. It was really nice. We basically, it was kind of a ceremony to congratulate our Power 100 champions, and then look at kind of our metrics as a whole from commercial, industrial, municipal, and
okay.
Enrollments.
And I may have missed it, but was any of that on any particular news channel or TV channel?
Yeah, we had about 9 different outlets report.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to share those articles with you too. I have everything in one place for you.
Okay, it'd be nice to see, but yeah, I missed that myself.
I can share it with the whole committee.
Great.
Were there any other questions?
I think I shared, just so everyone knows, this is Rachel, a photo album from that day as well. So if you just want to use those, feel free. They're a Dropbox account. But yes, Larry, I can send you whatever you'd like as well.
You may have it already, Larry. I think we all got the Dropbox blast. At least I got it.
I'll be looking for it. Thank you.
Was there anything else, Rita?
That's it.
Okay, well, thank you. I guess we're moving along pretty well as an organization and doing what we said we're going to do. That's pretty exciting news, actually.
Excuse me, Chair. I see that Vice Chair Hammond has her hand.
Okay. Tara?
Hi, Rita. I was wondering, with people getting their bills very soon, would it be helpful if any of us did proactive social media posts? I know we talked about when someone has misinformation, it can be delicate responding to it, but would it be helpful if we shared, letting people know what's happening and that we're excited for this and ways they can benefit from the program and participate in the future?
Always, yes.
Yes.
I'm happy to. A lot of the points in our initial toolkit still apply to, especially to those people that just enrolled in May. So thank you for that offer, and I'll share some sample posts with everybody.
Great. And just so we know, are there certain days that people are billed, or is it just dependent on when their previous bill was, or
It depends on their meter read.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
I think that varies. Lucas, are you on? And is there a time that should be focused on when people actually get their bill, or is that kind of varied across the month?
Hey, Rita, thanks. And thanks for that great question, Vice Chair Hammond. So yes, Rita is absolutely right. In terms of when customers should expect to see their first round of bills with San Diego Community Power generation charges in them, that actually varies by read cycles. The read cycles are spread from read cycle 1 through 22, and those actually fall into various different dates. And so throughout the month, customers, depending on whichever bill cycle they're on, will receive bills, and that would be an ongoing process every single bill cycle and every single day of the month until the entire billing cycle is completed, encompassing the 22 cycles.
When you talk about rate cycles, is that what rate they're on? So if I'm on a different rate than Rita, we'd be billed at different times since we're on different rates?
No, so this is the read cycle. So obviously, for logistical reasons, the IOUs cannot read all meters at a go. And so they spread them apart throughout the month, depending on whichever read cycle that your account or your specific account falls into. And so assuming, my account is on read cycle 1, let's say that is typically read on the 3rd of the month, my bill should come out 4 days after that read cycle typically. And so, and then if your account is on read cycle 2, which is typically read on the 4th day of the month, your billing, or you should expect to see your bill 4 days after that period, and so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
So for my clarity, a read cycle is basically based upon geographical location.
No, so it's not based on the geographical location. It's based on the allocation by SDG&E on when that meter is to be read every single month.
Right.
You could have, those read cycles. And again, I'm trying to find a read cycle so I can show you what that looks like, and then maybe we can just see it visually, and hopefully that will address most of the questions.
Okay, Gary, I cut you off. I'm sorry. You had a question?
Well, it's kind of the same question, but for some reason, I thought the read cycles were based on when you actually started service the first time, which could, for some of us, could have been, last century, but never mind that.
Actually, it hopefully you can see my screen. Kimberly, if I may share my screen. We can take a look at what the bill cycle actually looks like. And I think that would help address most of the questions that you've got. So this, hopefully you can see my screen. This is actually a published meter reading schedule by SDG&E. They typically publish this around Q4 of every year for the following year, so that customers can know when to expect their meters to be read, and subsequently when to actually expect their bills. So you can clearly see that the read cycles are cycle 1 to 21 in particular, but then there is one where it's monthly read, and that is not depicted here. But so for an account, regardless of where you're located, if you're in cycle 1, the way that you read this billing cycle is, what cycle you're on, and you can find the cycle that you're on your bill. It should say cycle or read cycle on the bill. And that tells you when your meter will be read based on this schedule. So if you read cycle 1, in January, your meter is read on the 3rd. And typically after the meter is read, obviously that usage has to be transmitted over to us for billing. And typically the bill window is about a 4-day window. And so you should expect typically your bill to roll through to you 4 days after your meter is read. Typically, it could be 4 to 5 days, depending on when SDG&E runs the billing cycles or run the billing processes. But this is how you read, this is how you can decipher when your bill probably will come to you. And likewise, for a person who's in read cycle 6, in January, that meter typically is read by SDG&E on the 10th. And so 4 days afterwards, you should expect at a high level to receive your bill, and so on and so forth.
What is the white bar with all the 32s and 30s in it?
So this just tells you the length of the read, typically. In other words, in your billing cycle, in some cases, you would have 29 days, you would have 32 days, 30 days, 31 days, and 33 days, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So if I can chime in to go back to Tara's question, I think that there isn't a particular day that we need to focus on. Anything that we can get out is great. And I don't know if you all have noticed, but our new marketing and communications manager has been really tearing up the social media channels for San Diego Community Power. So there's a lot of content there to share. And we've had a lot of great activity, but we'll also provide the tools so that you can post your own. So thank you so much.
And if I could also add to that, thank you, Rita. If any of you are more active on Twitter, I know some people love Twitter, some people hate it. I'd love to make sure that we're following you. And then that way, also for tagging purposes, I can reshare any content that you put onto your channels. Our top channels right now from the metrics I'm looking at are Twitter and Instagram, which are very different mediums. So if you like either of those or have channels, if you could either email me, or I don't know what the best way to kind of collect those would be, but I would love to start following you and resharing some of your content. I apologize, my camera is broken on my laptop, so I have to get a new external one.
Okay. Any more on that item number 6?
That's all we've got, Chair.
You know, I really love the fact that you guys very rarely report to us any real problems. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. I wish the rest of my life was like that. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I did. So moving on, if there's no more questions, moving on to item number 7. Receive an update on the community power plan. I guess, Nelson, that's your baby.
That's correct. And I have a problem to report, Chair. No, I'm kidding. I just had to tease. But no, thank you, Chair. I actually want to turn over a lot of this report over to Carolyn and Matt, committee members Carolyn and Matt, to provide an update. And then I'm here to help answer any questions that may come up from the committee, and also provide an update from staff's perspective if we need to. So I'll turn it over to either Carolyn or Matt to take us away.
I guess I'll start off, Carolyn, and then I think you had your second half, but mine's pretty short and high level, which is basically to say that SDCP staff and the consultants have been working very hard to identify a pathway and some strategies to ensure that we're capturing all the communities in our region as part of SDCP, so that we can collect their input. And there's a very lengthy calendar that's being developed. And right now we're asking folks to provide information on community stakeholders and folks that they want to connect with. Timeline wise, we're looking to move forward as quickly as possible to get a strategic plan kind of set in place for this community engagement process. Carolyn, I don't know what other updates you have there to add.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about our stakeholder database that we have. And first I wanted to say thank you for everyone who has sent in community organizations for us to follow up on. And what happens is right away, we put those in our stakeholder database. We also want recommendations about interest groups and other community groups, and the focus is on community of concerns. And if you want to make a recommendation, we still have a week left that you can do that. So we would really like more organizations, because that just means more connections and more partnerships that we can form. And so if you're not sure about a name, just go ahead and send it in anyway, because I was surprised at some of the organizations that were going to be included, and it's going to be a diverse group, and we want it to be as diverse as possible. So
Carolyn, if I might add, is there a form or anything for that? Or is there a form for that, or a template to insert or shoot these organizations to you?
Yep, I'm going to go over to Nelson for this. I think he's going to send it out again.
Okay. Yeah, we can send it out again. We do have a form that you can submit online. Essentially, the form, all it asks for is the name of the organization. And if you have a contact information, send it that way, or you can email it to us as well. The form was just a little more formal way to just make sure that we're capturing all the contact information and we're not missing anything. But feel free to, excuse me, feel free to email it to us as well, or submit it to the form, and we'll send it back out.
Please, thank you.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to let you know what is happening with this database. So what the kinds of activities that are happening are leadership interviews. Those are going on right now. we're going to be doing community listening sessions. So we're looking for partner organizations for that. And also partnering for events in probably somewhere around the middle of August, we're going to have a survey ready to go. And we especially are going to want as many responses as possible that we can get to our survey. And so that's where all of these organizations will be a help. And I think I already mentioned June 17th, that's the deadline. That's when we'll start kind of deciding how we're going to use some of the different organizations. And I just wanted to make one additional comment, because the obvious activities that we're doing and the information gathering that we want to do, first of all, that's to help us develop relevant programs for everybody in our communities. And then the second part about that, though, is that we'll be developing partnerships. And those community partnerships will be really important for all of us moving forward together, especially to do everything we can to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in our region. And any questions? Larry has a question.
Yeah, I think Larry has one.
Well, I didn't know if we were done with the PowerPoint slide because I was only seeing the first page of the PowerPoint slide, and I didn't know if I was missing something.
That's it. Yeah,
that was it.
No,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't catch that.
Thanks.
Okay, are there any comments from the public on item number 7?
There are no public comments and no additional hands raised.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Any standing items? No, number 8, San Diego Community Power updates from staff.
Thanks, Chair. I just had that update about the Chula Vista seat. So we do expect to have the seat filled by our next CAC meeting. I also wanted to share some notes from our strategic planning facilitator. So if we could go to the next slide. I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page regarding what to expect for tomorrow. So Lisa asked that if you have any questions, be sure and review the emails that Kimberly has sent. The last one that she sent today has information that she's sent in the past as well. So thank you, Kimberly, that was really helpful. And Lisa asked to be sure and read the book that was sent out and to dress comfortably because there's some sort of activity planned. I don't know what it is, but I'll be wearing comfy shoes tomorrow. And we look forward to everyone joining us at 6:30 and the workshop begins at 9 o'clock. So there are options to attend virtually and it'll also be recorded if you're not able to make it.
And you want everybody to join you at 6:30 or 8:30, Rita?
8:30.
Okay. Any questions from the committee?
I had one question about the first part. Rita mentioned about the Chula Vista seat. Since there were only 5 applications, is that something that will be expanded? I believe when we first started, some of the cities had low application numbers, and so it was extended. I'm just wondering if that's a way that we can help try to spread the word there, or if it's already, if we have good applicants and it's already moving forward.
You know, I think it's with Chula Vista now. So if they feel like it's something that they want us to go to post again, I'll definitely let this committee know. But I think 5 turned out to be a good number for this round.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Well, I believe I had a question. I don't know who I asked it or where I asked it at. However, are city employees able to serve on the community advisory committee? City employees able to serve on the community advisory committee?
I don't remember how if the rules specify that. But there was someone that we thought would be good that I spoke to, Eddie, and he said he felt like for his role, he thought it might be a conflict.
Understandable. Tara, your hand is still up. You have a question? Are there any other questions from the committee? Are there any, Larry, you have a question?
Yes, could you remind me, I know I have it in the email, but the location and then the best transit stop to get there,
You get where?
to the meeting tomorrow.
Oh,
It's at the National City Aquatic Center.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with?
Oh, okay. Not that, I remember reading it now. I just forgot. So, okay, I can get there easy. So, okay, very good. Thank you.
thank you. Do we have any questions from the public?
There are no public questions.
Well, we're moving right along. I like this. Are there any standing items discussing of potential agenda items for the board of directors meetings? So anybody from our committee, do you have any potential items for the board of directors? Anna, then Larry.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna move back to the training tomorrow. I got the email from Kimberly today at noonish. And when I click on the link that was sent, it just goes, it appears to me just to go to meeting notes and our board of directors and the contact us page. Oh, maybe under programs. I'm not sure where to find it. So if you could direct me, I appreciate it.
What you would do is go to the link I sent you and then go to the board of directors section and then click on the June 11th date and it will have all of the items for the session.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I forgot to give a full staff update because Colin has his hand up and I guess he wants to update us on something. Colin?
Yeah, thanks. It'll be real quick here. First, I wanted to just double down on what Nelson and the team were saying. We worked on the CPP. Thank you for everyone who has been contributing to that. The connections to the CBOs and to the different groups in your communities that's what's going to make this successful. Not simply us blasting out a survey on social media. Those connections are what we need to actually get to the root of the community and identify the needs, and so that we can build programs to address those needs. So the June 17th date is definitely a kind of our artificial deadline for us. And those groups will be the first ones that we can really consider for the initial targeted outreach. But we are always open to get more names of groups or individuals in your community who you think would be interested in engaging. So that June 17th date is more of a soft deadline. And then for those introductions, the form that we put out is supposed to make things very easy for people to submit CBOs to us or groups to us. But really the best thing would be if we could get an email introduction, even if a quick informal introduction is the best way for us to start a conversation with folks who we may not have a relationship with already. So for those who are willing to do that, that kind of introduction goes a long way with us, especially being a new organization in the region. So thank you all for that. And I think Nelson was probably going to send out the survey link. I had sent it a couple weeks ago, but it'd be good to get at the top of everyone's inbox for sure. The other quick update I had is that we still are pretty heads down on the CPP, and we are doing our best to hold back on not launching any programs. But we do have some programs that have been under development for a long time, and that you may have heard we update the board every now and again on. We're focused very closely on a program that would be fully funded by the Public Utilities Commission. It's a very poorly named, it's called the DAC GT or the CSGT. They're two programs that we will rename as soon as we start them, but they are to use CPUC funding to try to increase community solar and increase access to solar for residents who live in disadvantaged communities and who are on care and fairer rates. Happy to have detailed conversations about that, but I just want to let you know that we are still moving forward with programs outside of the CPP. We're trying to do our best to hold back before we go forward with too much. We are also trying to identify when there's good partnership opportunities that pop up that seem like that would be very beneficial for our customers. We want to take advantage of those. The potential for a partnership that we're thinking about right now is with an organization called Connect, and they work with customers to help provide incentives to mostly residents to lower their energy usage during certain times of the day when the grid is stressed. And they operate as a third party outside of a standard utility to help customers in the state reduce their energy during those peak periods. I'll be able to provide a much larger update on that hopefully next month, but we're also thinking about partnerships there with this organization called Connect, and I just wanted to keep folks apprised of the things we're working on. Happy to take questions if it looks like Gary and Larry have them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, SDG&E was using Connect going back a year or two ago, and I signed up, and it kind of, I think this was SDG&E's screw up, because all of a sudden it was like Connect couldn't get the data for me. And so I hate it, I hate it when an organization doesn't work, but in this case, I'm willing to say that SDG&E was the culprit, but just maybe heads up to you to see what the Yelp rating is on Connect or something like that.
Oh, noted. Thank you, Gary. Good feedback. And if you'd be willing to, we'd be happy to touch base offline to understand what that problem was a little bit more. If you're open to or interested in chatting about it, feel free. We talk about it outside.
Well, I can summarize it up. I could never get any information about what the problem was.
Oh, okay. That's frustrating. Thank you. Good feedback.
Larry?
Yes, am I off? Okay, yes. So yes, related to that community solar effort to get more solar for community. I know it's hard to mix programs sometimes, but I think if they're putting solar in some multi-unit dwelling or some complex, they should always consider adding an EV charging station, at least one. There's electrical work going on at the same time, and they've got staff. They shouldn't miss that opportunity. It shouldn't delay the project, but I think it's important to try to take every opportunity to add EV charging in the community whenever you're putting solar. So just keep that in mind. I know some of the charge point locations that were put in under Power Your Drive with San Diego Gas Electric also had prices based on the previous day weather, so that you could get the best rates. So that's a little more challenging, but that's also a good program for community people. So keep that in mind as well. This is kind of in general for the program for the renewable energy that we're going to be trying to add to our system. Pros and cons. I'm sure you're probably studying things that work and haven't worked, but it doesn't hurt to review those renewables in other countries that have been successful or failures, and why, so that we do not repeat those failures. Japan, is one example where they have a lot of rain and they put solar on slopes, and then the rain caused the landslides, and so all the solar work was wiped out. And they have, because of the rains, they have excess rust and whatnot. So that's a little different situation. We're under drought, but our opposite side of that is heat. So when we do an installation for solar somewhere out in the desert or somewhere where we'll transport it here, then they should consider heat, and those systems should be resilient for heat and be optimized to produce the most energy based on the expected heat. Of course, I prefer have a lot of local distributed energy within our community, but just keep in mind so this was kind of an item maybe for the board, was to continue reviewing renewable projects that have had success or failure and what those strengths and weaknesses were. So that's just my general comment on that earlier possible items for the board to consider and for the staff to consider. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Gary, your hand is still up. You have something?
No, sorry about that.
That was magical. Any more from the committee with any ideas or suggestions for the board? Or speak about any potential board items? Tara, are you trying to raise your hand?
I'll bring up something in the next item for which hopefully we discuss next time, and then I'll wait for the next board meeting. So never mind.
Okay. So I believe, are there any comments or suggestions from the community?
There are no public comments.
Okay, then I believe we will move on to item number 10, committee member announcements. Tara, is this when you wanted to?
Yes, please.
All righty then.
All right. A handful of local organizations recently launched the Fossil Fuel Free San Diego Pledge. And Rita, if I can send you the link to send out, it's fossilfuelfreepledge.org. And I'm hoping next meeting we can discuss it and urge San Diego Community Power as well as the board of directors to take the pledge. Currently, it's asking nonprofit organizations and elected officials as well as candidates to pledge not to take money from SDG&E, Sempra fossil fuel companies. Obviously, SDCP has a relationship with SDG&E, so that wouldn't be included, but it's helping advance climate justice and climate action. As many of us have seen, when these big corporations give money, it can sometimes it oftentimes influences politics and stops climate action. So just wanted to share that, and hopefully we can discuss it next week. And we've shared it with staff as well, and would love to see SDCP be a leader and be the first CCE to take such a pledge.
So I believe the best course of action, if it's legal, is to actually add it to our agenda next week. So there's actually time for a presentation, and you can present all the present all the information so that we can make an informed decision about whether or not we actually want to push it towards the board of directors, if that makes sense.
Yep. So you said next week, but so next month at our CAC meeting, we can do a little presentation. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Put it on our agenda so that it's noticed. And if there's other community members that, have something to say about it, they can say something about it.
Great.
I believe that would be the best course of action.
Would be happy to. Thank you.
Anna?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to lower it, but I just have a question. It's probably not appropriate, but for this, well, I guess it is. Anyway, do I need to take minutes tomorrow for this whole workshop, the whole day?
No, I think Kimberly's going to do that. That's not on you. Kimberly's going to take meetings of everything.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, so I'd be prepared. Thank you so much.
And Kimberly, correct me if I'm wrong. Anna doesn't need to take notes tomorrow, right?
That is correct, Chair Price.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to be riding my bike tomorrow to Pepper Park. I am also working with a charging network called Electrify America, which is affiliated with Volkswagen of America. And they are the primary sponsor of the Fully Charged Live North America Expo that's coming to the San Diego Convention Center in September. And they sent out a notice today that they are looking for any additional exhibitors, and they sent out a rate plan for organizations, companies, individuals who might want to exhibit at the convention center. So I thought I would make an announcement to all of you guys that if you have any people or organizations that might want to join us for the Fully Charged Live North America Expo in September at the San Diego Convention Center to let them know about this event. It's going to be a biggie, and Electrify America is one of the primary sponsors. I believe San Diego Community Power is going to have a presence there as well. And yeah, that's my announcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry?
Yes, for that event, can you remind me, were there places available for nonprofits at a low or no cost? Were they setting aside some places for community nonprofits?
Do you want to take that, Rita?
Well, you said, no, but not.
Yeah, we
this
were
is-
hoping for that. We want to do that, but I don't know that it has been decided.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am going to be meeting with the organizers next week, so I hope to have kind of a better picture of what it looks like after that. So I'll definitely be in touch.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Victoria?
Hello. Tomorrow there's going to be a Youth for Climate Summit. It's going to be free for anyone that's interested in going. It's from 1 to 5. So, you know, people on this call probably won't be able to go, but if you have like children, students, grandchildren, it's ran by San Diego 350's Youth for Climate. But if you go on their website, you can see there's like a free link if the $35 is too expensive. And at last month's meeting, I mentioned that I started 2 petitions in Spring Valley. One is to get more trees in Spring Valley in order to push the county to comply with the climate action plan goals that they made. They were supposed to plant 550 trees by last month, but they only planted 47 out of those 550. So I made a petition. I'm on the Parks Board and the planning group, and I'm trying to push the county as much as possible, but it's a little difficult. So on Tuesday, I'll be submitting a letter from the Spring Valley Community Planning Group, but if any of you could possibly sign the petition or share it on Facebook or anything, that would be very helpful. And then the other petition I'm pushing is to get 2 more community gardens in Spring Valley. We live in a food desert, and we face a bunch of environmental injustices, but those would also be very helpful and beneficial. I'm trying to get to like sending out letters from the planning group and Parks Board. I got them on the priorities, but people are a little hesitant of community gardens. But if you could sign the petitions, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention some of the ideas that we're sharing right now, that actually the CAC is going to be a stakeholder and the consultants will be interviewing us. I don't know the exact month or when that will happen, but it's a good idea to think of all the things, start kind of capturing ideas and, thoughts that we have, so that we can share those with the consultants for our stakeholder meeting that's coming up. Thanks.
Thank you. Larry?
Yes, Victoria, related to your tree planting, I used to be involved with People for Trees years ago. And just, I don't know if those are going to be just in the parks or in front of people's homes, but it's 2 kind of important things is maintenance. Sometimes they plant a tree and there's no maintenance funding, or the homeowners don't take ownership of the ones planted in front of their house. There should be a built-in program for maintenance and for home ownership to help take care of the trees. The other thing is sometimes they dig a hole that is just squeeze in the tree roots, and that's not good for the growth. It should be twice as wide as the container of the tree that's going to be planted, and at least twice as deep, and have some good mulch and mix. If it's very hard soil, it's good to make those not just a circle, but a square cut in and make so the roots have a way to kind of escape the hard circle clay material. Those 2 will help with the success of the program. That's it.
Thank you, Larry. Any more committee member announcements? Well, I think without any further ado, we are ready to adjourn the meeting. Peter, you're waving your hand. Are you just waving your
I'll
hand?
just say bye-bye.
Oh, okay.